Welcome to the LEA Private Nonprofit Equitable Services Random Validation Training for November 2021. I am Lenitra Guess, ESA PNP Ombudsman in the Federal Program Compliance Division. The PNP Random Validation for 2021 through 2022 will request documentation for one selected program requirement. However, a district must ensure it has documentation on file for all applicable private nonprofit program requirements. This presentation will provide a brief overview of the LEA PNP Equitable Services Program purpose and the indicator that will be validated. This presentation will share information regarding the timely and meaningful consultation random validation indicator, and the documentation submission process. Documenting overall compliance for a program requirement may require several forms of documentation to be maintained locally and available upon request by TEA and/or an auditor. To ensure overall compliance with program requirements, LEAs should refer to the program guide and/or other program-related resources that reference the multiple forms of documentation required to be maintained locally. The documentation requested for submission during the random validation process may not include all forms of documentation that are required to be maintained locally. Please note that due to COVID-19, documentation for virtual meetings is an acceptable form of documentation. Given the increased use of virtual meeting environments, participant rosters that include the meeting title, meeting date, stakeholder names, and roles would be acceptable substitutes for the more traditional sign-in sheets. This eliminates the need of a participant signature. For the 2021-2022 school year, the LEA must submit documentation to support its timely and meaningful consultation with private nonprofit school officials. Please review the 2021-2022 PNP Random Validation Handbook for the LEAs providing PNP timely and meaningful consultation meetings. The handbook provides the information regarding the selected PNP requirement, instructions for completing the submission packet, instructions for uploading random validation documentation, and a timeline for the PNP random validation process. In addition, the handbook shares the alignment among the ESA statutory citations, ESA program-specific provisions and assurances, and the compliance report for PNP-related items. LEAs will complete applicable sections of the submission packet, include specifically identified relevant documentation, and follow the Random Validation Handbook instructions to submit these documents through the ESA Reports application on TEAL no later than January 14, 2022. The ESA Section 1117 provides the statutory requirement for Title I Part A Private Nonprofit Equitable Services timely and meaningful consultation requirements. The ESA Section 8501 provides the statutory requirements for Title I Part A, Title II Part A, Title IV Part A, and Title IV Part B. All of those programs fall under the Title VIII ESA Section 8501 that provides information regarding the timely and meaningful P&P consultation requirements. Program-specific provisions and assurances related to the Title I Part A P&P Equitable Services Program may be found in the LEA Consolidated Federal Grant Application on pages 22 through 23, item number 9. And it states, to ensure timely and meaningful consultation, the LEA shall consult with appropriate private school officials during the design and development of the LEA's Title I Part A programs. The LEA and private school officials shall both have the goal of reaching agreement on how to provide equitable and effective programs for eligible private school children. Program-specific provisions and assurances related to the Title VIII programs may be found in the LEA Consolidated Federal Grant Application on various pages that are listed on the slide. The assurance for all Title VIII programs states the LEA will provide services to eligible children attending private elementary schools and secondary schools in accordance with Section 8501 and timely and meaningful consultation with private school officials regarding such services. On the 21-22 LEA Compliance Report, one of the LEA program compliance self-check indicators are for the LEA to provide timely and meaningful consultation meetings with P&P school officials regarding the implementation of the Title I Part A and Title VIII federal programs. The consultation must have occurred before the district made any decisions that affect the opportunities of eligible private nonprofit school children, teachers, and other educational participants to participate in the program and continue throughout the implementation and assessment of program activities. Since the due date for the ESA P&P Affirmation of Consultation form was in September, there is no need to submit the same forms again through the random validation process. TEA staff will retrieve the LEA's Affirmation of Consultation forms which have been submitted. However, the LEA should submit acceptable documentation which provides evidence that timely and meaningful consultation with participating private school officials occurred. Acceptable evidence would include 2 samples of dated agendas, meeting notes, emails, or other documentation indicating timely and ongoing consultation meetings were held for a title program in which the private nonprofit school is participating. Again, TEA only needs for the LEA to submit 2 samples of one of the acceptable documented items listed on the slide. Written documentation supporting timely and meaningful private nonprofit consultation meetings is what is required. Issues that may result in an improvement needed status are auditable documentation requested was not submitted. Documentation submitted does not reference the requested P&P validation requirement. Documentation from a prior year was submitted instead of the current year. Selected LEAs for the P&P Timely and Meaningful Consultation Random Validation will receive notification on December 1, 2021. LEA documentation will be due January 14, 2022. The ESCs will be available to provide technical assistance for selected districts. TEA will notify the LEA of its random validation results on April 26, 2022. If there is improvement needed, the LEA will have an opportunity to receive ESC technical assistance before resubmission documents are due on September 30th, 2022. Thank you for attending the presentation. If you need further assistance or have questions, you may email them to isasupport@tea.texas.gov. Thank you and have a wonderful day.